Welcome back! My name is Trinity, and I am here to be your diverse fairy tale guide. Today's reading is going to come from African American Read Aloud Stories again, and let's just get right into it because it's kind of long and I have a lot of thoughts on it actually. So first off, it's called Timba, the Dissatisfied Bird. So obviously I chose this one because Timba kind of sounds like a portmanteau of Timon and Pumbaa. So Timba, had to. And then one note, anthills can be gigantic. I'm sure a lot of people know this. They've seen National Geographic, but at least in the US, we're not talking our little bitty in between sidewalk cracks anthills. We're talking like several feet or several meters in height. It becomes important. Okay. Timba, the Dissatisfied Bird. Strangely enough, two very different creatures of the wilds, Nengo, the mighty lion, and Timba, the little brown robin, had formed a friendship. It began when Timba noticed that from time to time, the lion made kills that were too large for him to finish at one meal. This meant that part of the carcass was left to rot, and rotting meat meant big, juicy white maggots, which were Timba's favorite food. It was, therefore, easy to understand why Timba took to following Nengo from one hunting ground to another, listening for his roar of victory each time he made a kill. "This is my hunting ground! This is my hunting ground!" The Lord of the Forest would roar as he stood majestically on top of the highest ant heap to let all the creatures know that they were to bow down to him. Of course, no one dreamed of opposing him, especially the little brown robin. The lion had no objection to Timba benefiting from his leavings. Day after day, the big cat would chat amiably with the little bird, who sat twittering in excited anticipation in the tree above him, waiting for the maggots to ripen. "Tee-tee, tee-tee, tee-tee," trilled the robin, his song making the countryside glad with music. "Great is the strength of Nengo, wise is the rule of his law." Then one day he added, "But oh, why am I so small and insignificant?" Nengo always enjoyed listening to Timba's flattering song, and he was in a particularly good mood that morning. "Yes, my friend," Nengo said, "all you sing of me is true, and it is indeed unfortunate that you are of so little account. If you were of greater importance, your song would carry more weight among my subjects. But why do you shame yourself by eating my rotten leavings, instead of hunting good red meat of your own?" "Indeed, wise Nengo, I agree with all that you say," answered the poor, sad little bird. "But I am too small to catch anything else. Oh, that I were bigger and stronger and fiercer!" "I can help you to become so, should you wish," said the lion pleasantly. "Oh, Lord of the Forest, mighty one, please do so," trilled the little bird. "Then we must visit Fisi, the alchemist," said the lion. "Come, I will take you to him." They found Fisi the hyena lying asleep at the entrance to his bone-littered cave. The lion's loud greeting sent the ugly creature scuttling into the shadows behind him. "Fisi, my brave fellow, I have some work for you to do. Our friend Timba is tired of being so small and insignificant that he is forced to eat the worms that live in the leavings of other people's kills. He wishes to be changed into a fierce animal who can catch and kill meat for himself. Please, mix a suitable portion for him." The hyena went back into the gloom of his cluttered cave. He soon returned with the desired potion, which he gave to the robin. No sooner had the little bird swallowed it than he changed into Lilongwe, a fierce little gray mongoose. He was delighted, and immediately went into the forest to hunt for rats, birds, and other small creatures. Things went well to begin with, but after a while the lion and mongoose met. "Well, Lilongwe, how are you getting on?" asked the lion. "Not so well as I could wish," grumbled the mongoose. "Birds are difficult to catch. Besides, it is the good red blood of animal flesh that I crave. If only Fisi had mixed a little stronger potion for me," he added wistfully. "Very well," said the lion with an indulgent smile. "We will visit him again and see if he will help you further." They repeated their visit to the spellmaster's cave, and Fisi mixed another magic brew at the lion's request. No sooner had the little mongoose swallowed it than in his place stood a sleek and velvety spotted leopard. Nulongwe, as we must now call him, purred with pride and pleasure, and at once bounded into the forest to hunt small buck, hares, and baboons. For some time the leopard was contented with his lot, but eventually he thought how very much more exciting it would be to hunt in the open by daylight, instead of keeping to the shadows of the dark forest. Besides, he wanted to kill big animals, zebra and buffalo, not little things like baboons and rock rabbits. The more he thought about it, the more dissatisfied he became with his present lot. It was not long after this that Gengo saw Yulongwe slinking along a path in the depth of the forest one morning just after sunrise. "Good morning, my friend. I am sure you must be quite satisfied now," said the lion. "Not completely. I wish I could catch big animals like you do," said the leopard irritably. "Very well. "We will visit Fisi once more," said the lion patiently. So they went to the cave for the third time. When the hyena had prepared an extra large potion, the lion took it and, before handing it to Longwei, said, "I must make one condition before your next change takes place. When you have made your kills, you are never, never, ever to roar like I do, because, as you are well aware, all the hunting in this area belongs to me. In my roar, I am entitled to say, 'This is my hunting ground. This is my hunting ground.' You must say, 'This is Gengo's hunting ground. This is Gengo's hunting ground.' If you disobey this order, you will be punished. Do you understand?" The leopard thumped the ground sulkily upon each side of him, with his elegant yellow and black tail. After he had promised to follow the lion's instructions, Gengo handed the leopard the magic potion. Yolungwe could hardly wait to gulp it down, and as soon as he did, a fine young lion appeared, strong and well built, but smaller than Gengo. Soundlessly, the young lion slipped into the tall grass at the edge of the forest, and at once began to stalk and hunt big game upon the plains. His first kill was a buck, and the following day he killed a young kudu. This was life indeed! How proud he felt as he dragged the various carcasses to the top of an anthill, as he had seen Gengo do, and from there to announce to all, "This is Gengo's hunting ground! This is Gengo's hunting ground!" before setting down to his meal. The big lion heard him, and was pleased. The young lion went from one success to another, his kills becoming larger and larger, until finally he pulled down a big buffalo. "Surely I am now a match for any creature living," he thought. "I have as much right to this hunting ground as any other lion." And he roared for all to hear, "This is my hunting ground! This is my hunting ground!" The king of the wilds heard the boastful roar, and hastened to where the young lion was tearing chunks of meat from his kill. "What did I just hear you roar?" asked the lion, as he bared his huge yellow teeth. The young lion's heart skipped a beat or two. Perhaps, he thought, it had been unwise of him to declare his strength quite so soon. Maybe he should have waited until he had reached full maturity and was certain that he could overcome the mighty Gengo. I spoke without thinking," he said hesitantly. "That is no excuse. Tell me, what were you before Fisi changed you into a lion?" "I was a leopard," mumbled the ungrateful one. What happened then happened so quickly that the young lion was not aware of the change until it had already taken place. Looking down at his paws, he saw the earlier spotted fur of the leopard, to which he had returned. His head reeled, but he was brought back to his senses by the older lion patiently asking him, "And before you were a leopard?" "I was a mongoose," muttered the leopard, now very unsure of himself. He was startled to see how enormous Gengo had suddenly become, until he realized that it was he himself who had grown small again, for he was once more Longwangwei, a fierce little gray mongoose. But the lion had not finished with him yet. "Yes," went on the Lord of the Wilds. "Of course, a mongoose. I remember. And before that?" I was a robin," stammered the mongoose. The words had barely left his mouth before he was once more Timba, the tiny, little, insignificant brown bird at the beginning of this tale. "Tee, tee, tee," he chirped as he fluttered up into the tree above the lion, to begin once more his permanent search for big, juicy, white maggots. Therefore, it is always wise to show gratitude for the good things that are given to you in life, for the great one who gives them can also take them away from those who do not appreciate the gifts. The end. Okay, so a lot going on in this story, especially if you're an adult who reads a lot of things into things. So I guess the first thing is that, and I know it's just a story, I don't understand why it's supposed to be shameful for the bird to be going over the maggots and the leavings, because leavings are the only place that maggots grow, like rotting flesh. So that's really the only place he can get his food. But whatever, I know it's just a story. I think Gengo was also kind of not a great guy in this one. He's not a very supportive friend, or I guess he's supposed to be an authority figure, so he's not a very supportive king or whatever. He's willing to help, but even when he finally turns our little friend into a lion, it's still a noticeably smaller lion, and he doesn't want the lion to like grow to be better than him, or to not acknowledge that it's lesser than he is, kind of like a king and his subjects. So that's kind of messed up, and really Howling that this is Gango's land every single time that the little lion makes a kill. There's like a tribute, just a weird kingly tribute. Anyway, so yeah, the lion disappointed me a little bit because he's not trying to improve the life of the robin just for the sake of improving his friend's life. He just seems to want a very grateful charity case. And I think that we see that a lot in the actions of real existent humans. Like the other day, I saw a YouTube video of this person. They went up to this unhomed woman in a wheelchair and helped her a little bit, and then took her back to her house and gave her some money. But they filmed all of this. Like, oh, we paid her rent and her electricity bill, and she was so grateful. Like, yeah, and you're being exploitative. If you actually cared about just helping your fellow human, you would have given her money without showing her face and showing that she lives in a bus, which is a comfortable spot for her that she's adapted. But yeah, other people's pain, it should not be entertainment. Okay, so a completely different subject. I actually saw some parallels between this story and the struggle of trans humans. Like every single time that the little bird changes forms physically, he also changes his name because he's become a completely different being. And I did think that it was pretty interesting that the way that he transformed backwards was to admit what stage he had been at before, and that just made me think of dead naming. I have some various trans friends, and their parents are not necessarily supportive, or some family members aren't supportive, and I think that this is a good illustration of what using someone's incorrect pronouns or incorrect name, things that they have not chosen, to refer to them, is painful and hurtful, because it doesn't revert them back to, like whatever physical states they had been in the past, but it's probably going to have the same effect emotionally. All of a sudden you are, for instance, that little boy who keeps getting his dresses thrown away, rather than this strong, beautiful woman who now can do absolutely whatever she wants. And that's messed up. So anyone who's been confused about the importance of pronouns and calling people by their correct names, it's that simple. A child story lets you know. So anyway, this got a little heavy, but important. So like, subscribe, and then there was a lot of commentary on this one, fairly jumbled, so sorry about that. But yeah, thoughts? Do you think I had it right? Do you think I had it wrong? Did you see the same parallels or different parallels? Yeah, I definitely want to hear from you. So let me know, and I'll see you next time.